Hey friends. So I'm back with the second installment in this video series where we are looking at flipping the concept of time management to be energy management. And then we're also amping that up with our own joy and learning how to really name and identify the activities that are already happening in our life or have at one time that truly bring us joy. And so in the last video, I asked you to go through an exercise and name these certain things that really gave you joy within some specific categories. And those categories were movement and exercise, food, all aspects of food, gathering our food, prepping our food, actually preparing the meal itself, and then sitting down and eating it. Also winding down and de-stressing. And then the last category was people, the people in our lives that are our favorite people, that really bring us a lot of goodness. And then there was a bonus part of that exercise, which was to flip it and to actually look at the opposite and dig into that a little bit with your curiosity. What are the exercise or movement activities that you might be doing but that you know are unsatisfactory in one way or another, like having a sedentary job and sitting all the time, or running because you think that it's really good for you, but inside you really don't like it. So that's just an example of how to flip it. Learning how to name what truly brings you joy and fulfillment is a skill. Also learning how to identify and name the things that drain you, that make you feel heavy, that cause you harm or even cause other people harm. Also a really important skill. And an important skill, both of those things, an important skill for navigating life in a conscious way so that we can craft the kind of life that we really truly want to live, one that we can feel very fulfilled about and not have regrets. So today then we're going to take that list that you created, and I want to show you how to combine some of those aspects in a way that will bring you even more joy. Will amplify time and will also amplify your energy. A term I want to share with you: stacking your life. Now, this is not my term. This term actually came from a woman named Katie Bowman, who is, if you don't know about her, check her out. Her stuff is really great. She is a published author. She's a biomechanist, and she's really kind of cutting edge in terms of how movement goes beyond exercise. How movement is, because we are holistic beings, movement is essential to our wellness on many, many levels. So the thing she wrote, one of her books is called Movement Matters, and in there is when she really introduces this concept of stacking your life. When I read that book, I realized I was already doing a lot of what she was talking about in terms of stacking your life, and it was also a belief that was forming inside of me. So being able to read her book and hear the way that she presents it in a really concise and informative way just strengthened what I was already coming up with, and it gave me a term, to an umbrella term to put it under. So this concept of stacking our life. Part of the key of where it comes from is that we as humans, we have these essential things that we need to have in our life. One of them, like I already stated, is movement. We came from a long, long line of ancestry where our bodies are formed based on moving to gather our food, whether, hunting and gathering, moving to create our shelters, moving to protect ourselves from the elements. So like we went from, for hundreds of thousands of years, of using our bodies to get our basic needs covered, to now we live a pretty comfortable lifestyle, and we have outsourced a lot of our movement so that we can do these other things that as Westerners we have decided is really important to us. And so then, because we've outsourced kind of these natural movements, we now have to bring movement back in and get creative about how to include it in our life, because it's not just part of our basic daily needs. So when it comes to, so movement is one of those essentials, right? I was on a line and then I got sidetracked. Movement is one of those essentials. Food is one of those essentials, and good quality nutrients and food. Also relationships, and close relationships and bonding, a feeling of being an important member of a group of people, someone who can give to the group and someone who can receive from the group. And then in this day and age, maybe that our ancestors didn't have to think about, but is an essential factor, is how to de-stress, how to wind down, how to counteract some of what is coming at us just because of the nature of our culture. So we take these basic needs, these basic categories, and when we put them together, we can intentionally be filling one or two or even three of those categories at once and getting our needs met and filling our cup. For example, I'll give you some examples of the ways that I have used this concept in my life. So I work a lot on the computer, and but I want different kinds of movement and shapes going on with my body. So a lot of us have heard like sitting is the new smoking. Well, now there's an idea, standing is the new sitting, right? So I have a standing desk that I work at, but then I'll also take it and I'll have a little location where I can sit on the floor. And sometimes I might sit on a chair, sometimes I might lie on my belly with the laptop in front of me. So changing our movements if we have a sedentary type activity that we have to perform, that's one way to stack and shift our life. Another thing is I love walking, I love hiking, I love being in nature. Sometimes I want to do that by myself, and that's the way that I recharge and de-stress. So rather than heading to the gym for an exercise workout that might not be that peaceful recharging, I can get 2 for 1 if I go alone into the woods and unwind and de-stress. Or I could go into the woods and bring a family member or someone who's really important to me and get filled up with good conversation and good connectivity. Another thing I have been doing, and you might be able to do too, is actually to walk to do some errands rather than in a car. And one of those errands might even be food gathering. Now, at this point, I'm only cooking for myself, so I can put a backpack on. I'm like a half a mile from the grocery store. Put a backpack on, walk down there, get my groceries, walk back. Now I've carried a load on my back, I've walked a mile, and I've gathered my food, right? It took a little bit longer, But still, this is me recrafting my life in a way that makes sense and it brings me joy. Another way would be like gathering your own food, gardening, even going to the farmer's market, because then you could combine connection with your farmers or maybe someone you go to the market with and gathering food. So that's what this concept of stacking your life is. It's like taking that list and figuring out how to combine things together. And it's fun, and it's a creative process, and it saves time while amplifying joy and amplifying these essential nutrients that we need as human beings. So that's it. That's the concept of stacking your life. If you want to know more about that, feel free to hit reply and ask me to expand on it. Or you could leave a comment in the video if you would like. Or if you want to share what you got out of it, I'm totally curious and interested to hear about that. And I'll be sending a next video, so one more in this series, and in that one I want to show you how to make this process that we just did of like naming what's important to us in this next chapter of our life, and then intentionally finding a way to plan it out and stick it into our life. I want to tell you more about that, how to actually plan it out and make it happen. And I also want to share with you a little bit of wisdom from Ayurveda, because Ayurveda, one of its really sweet gifts is showing us how to link our internal world with the external world, with nature, and how to use the natural rhythms of nature as reminders to come inward and do this, to like freshen up our intentions every season. So I'll tell you more about that so that you can take a project like this, a little intentional reframing, and sync it up into your year 2, 3, 4 times a year, so that you can make sure that you are on track with that crafting that is fresh, based on who you are right now, based on what's working right now and what isn't. So we're not just continually repeating an old cycle that's kind of like not so great, not so bad. We can be fresh. We're more verbs than we are nouns. We are beings in change, and we can craft the experience that we want so that we have a life well lived with less regret. All right, so thanks so much for watching. Go ahead and take the time to like piece those activities together. Tell me what you get. And in the next video, I'll show you how to actually plan it out in your annual calendar. All right, bye.